ora, fi Jamieson-Folland, the lifestyle designer with, can you relate to my dilemma? Oh my goodness me. So I love animals and I prefer for them not to be being killed, certainly not for my benefit. And going through my life, I've had my journey with this, from starting out being originally eating everything, consuming everything, not thinking about what I was wearing, leather and that kind of thing, and then becoming vegan ultimately when I was 21. And that was mostly driven by health reasons to quit dairy. I then learned all sorts of things, like I was actually not tolerating gluten very well. But for me, it's I've always had a strong passion about animals, absolutely love them. And I've had this philosophy, which has seemingly served me quite well, which is that if I'm not able to kill something to eat it, then I won't partake. And so for example, meat of any kind. And plus, I just tend to find that my body runs best with what I do choose to eat. Sometimes fish, and I could kill a fish. So when I arrived in New Zealand, same philosophy. And I remember coming across something called Forest and Bird, which is all about preserving the indigenous species, which are basically birds and reptiles that live here and have done for 80 million years here in New Zealand, until people came along. And then predators were introduced that have gone rampant and caused massive destruction. And if you're curious about this and you'd like to know more about a really audacious goal that has been set here in New Zealand and supported fully by nationally, which is to be predator free by 2050, which has a good ring about it as well. So up until that point, like I say, I just absolutely, I really, I love, but I understand that there's damage going on from possums, for example, destroying a lot of the natural greenery, and therefore it's not available for the indigenous birds. And then, I've never found stoats and ferrets particularly cuddly, friendly creatures, but I just never found it easy to think of killing them. Same with rats. However, after watching that documentary recommended to me by my sister, it's in 4 episodes of that documentary, highly recommend it. The Fight for the Wild, it's called. Very powerful documentary that has been made that talks about that predator free by 2050. So my dilemma has absolutely been, up until this point, until I watched that, and I've watched 3 of the 4 episodes at the time of filming, I will have watched them all by the time you see this, is that I'm very clear now. I'm super clear, having got an insight into the carnage that's going on with indigenous species here, in the most part helpless birds that are being culled to the point of extinction. It's extreme. But I'm just curious to know, and I'm telling you that story, that's my experience. How about yours? Do you have a dilemma? Has it always been very black and white, very clear for you? I'm curious to hear when it comes to animal welfare and preserving indigenous species. So till I see you on this week's Alive with Thee. Ciao for now.